Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S. back with another video. How's everyone? Another cup of tea. Hope you're well wherever you are. And this is a quite controversial topic, I know, but I really wanted to gauge people's opinions, and I just thought I'd make it. It's nearly 11:15 here at night in the UK, but yeah, just recently came up with this idea, so I thought I'd cover one on I cover it on YouTube. Oh, sorry, on Facebook and on YouTube, basically. But yeah, I wanted to hear people's opinions and ask the question: do you think reparations for certain community or all communities that have been wronged in some way? Do you think it's the right thing to do? Do you think it's a feasible thing to do? And if so, how can it be done? What do you think is a fair amount? If so, like for instance, for the black diaspora, black people around the world, or people from Africa specifically, or the Native Americans, indigenous people from across the Americas, or Asia, or Australasia, which are mainly part of what I call the Six, or Ireland even, which was colonised by the UK. Do you think every group that's colonised should be reparated, or what groups do you think have been wronged, and do you think they, if they've been wronged, do you think they should be reparated, um, and if so, how? I mean, I suppose some people might even say like women have been wronged throughout history, like forced to do a lot of work, unpaid work, or work in the house, and have been arguably treated badly. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And again, do you think if that's the case, do you think women should be reparated, like through I don't know, funding for businesses that were owned by women or whatever? I mean, one way is to teach young males not to harass women, at least not physically. That could be something. I'd just love to read other people's opinions, so I don't just want to put forward my own, really. But in my opinion, every group that's been wronged should probably be reparated. But I suppose the question is how? How do we find out the right number to reparate people? What is the best way to reparate people? Should it just be monetary, or should there be some other way, like an acknowledgement or an apology or something like that, or which is the best way to do it? Like for me, like say the Japanese, for instance, and in the unfortunate event of Hiroshima, they were given reparations because I think America must have admitted that they didn't actually have to do that, but they did that just to prove a point or something. I mean, there must have been a reason why why the Japanese got reparations, or maybe some Japanese people in America itself who were treated badly and had discrimination. I'm not 100% sure on the facts on that. So again, if you have anything to share, excuse me, on that or any other facts or figures or whatever. Like the Jewish community, they got reparations after World War II, how they were treated. But if you look at countries like India, people argue they had trillions. Even some people say as much as 45 trillion looted from their country. So I think that maybe even for loss of liberty when a country is being colonized, maybe there could be something like that. One idea I had, for instance, was all the tax receipts or the tax money that was collected from the tech industry, including all around the world, any money that the tech industry pays in tax or even has paid in tax could be donated to help indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech to make up for the fact that they were colonized and treated badly, and also for the lack of representation of black people, especially women, in tech. So even when, even when that could perhaps be backdated to all the tax money that the tech industry has paid, even to European countries or America or even Asia or around the world, it could go towards, even from the Americas or wherever else in the world, could go towards, like could be redirected, or even when the EU, I think, has fined some of the big tech companies for tax evasion or something like that. It must have been, I imagine, because if it was tax avoidance, it would be legal, in which case I don't think they could do that. But yeah, so maybe there could be a way the tech industry, the taxes collected, basically, in my opinion, should go towards helping indigenous Africans and Australasians and train them up. And the tech industry could have an incentive to support this because that money would be used where so that they would get something back from their taxes, because the people that their taxes go to towards training would get to work for them in the future, perhaps. with their training. So hopefully they'll benefit and it'll come back to them. But yeah, so I'd love for maybe people of color to network for that. One thing I think is like people of color. I wonder another question I wanted to ask, and I suppose I tried to put in the title, so I hope it made sense. I suppose I did ask it, but it's just whether people understand it. But I wonder whether people of color, like Black, Asian, mixed race, Native American, Latino, Hispanic, and maybe even Jewish people, whether it'd be preferable if people of color united, and whether it be possible. I suppose is another thing. I mean, for instance, I suppose with the Muslim community and the Jewish community, it would be hard to see them unite or work together. With Islamic extremists and non-Muslims who are like Hindu or Sikh or even Christians of color, it would be hard to see them unite. For instance, but I'd love to see as many people of color unite together and like use white supremacy um, or I use these terms interchangeably, like white supremacy, neo-nationalism, um, far right extremism, right wing extremism, things like that. So I don't mean like conservatives or people who have a different opinion, but I mean people who hate people of color. Um, I'm not saying everyone should agree with my opinions at all. I think everyone should have a right to their opinion. I mean, even if someone says they hate my people, like my people, i.e., mixed race people or olive skin people or whatever, but let's say mixed race people, I think they're entitled to do that. Obviously, if they try and attack us, I think we'd be entitled to defend ourselves as well. And if people of colour united and supported each other, I think we could protect each other, defend each other, whatever. And um, we could support each other and uplift each other and help to empower each other and like buy from each other and just support each other generally. And so if reparations, like we could work together for reparations, and if reparations were given to people of colour, we would use them better in supporting each other rather than fighting each other and things like that. And I think using, again, I said white supremacy, neo-nationalism, far right extremism, right-wing extremism or whatnot, basically who hate people of colour, basically is what I'm trying to say, I suppose, and who perhaps want to attack us or whatever, even physically. Politically and even physically. But also, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Using colonialism, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say, using colonialism or empire to unite. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking the question. Obviously, that's why I'm asking the question. But yeah, could people of colour somehow unite, or at least as many of us as possible? I think that would be pretty cool and preferable if as many of us as possible united together. Sorry, these wires always get crossed from my whatever it's called. Funny enough, I was in a discussion recently on Zoom about artificial intelligence, and I jokingly say I'm an AI as well because that's short for Anglo-Indian or an acronym for Anglo-Indian. But yeah, I'd love to read your comments, and I know I'm a bit all over the place, but basically, I think people of colour should work together to get reparations, maybe with allies as well, and working together against white supremacy, neo-nationalism, the far right, or whatever, right wings, right wing supremacy. Again, not conservatism necessarily, but I'm talking about people who hate people of colour. And again, I think if we unite together as people of colour, we could lobby for those reparations. We could protect each other legally and in other ways, if needed, protect and defend each other, and we could encourage each other and coach each other. I think it'd be great to see improvements in relations between Africans and Asians, or Black people and Asians generally around the world, and again, people of color, mixed race, people, Native Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, using the hate of white supremacy to actually unite each other and like support each other's businesses, and at the very least not fight each other or go against each other. And yeah, use, like, for instance, Asian and African nations have both been colonized, or most African nations and most Asian nations, almost all African nations, and probably pretty much all Asian nations have been colonized at some point, and therefore lost their liberty and stuff like that. So I think they could use that thing that they have in common ground, and the fact that people felt that they were superior to them, and they're still white supremacists today who feel they're superior to us, people of color, which is their entitlement to think that. But I think we should unite and support each other as people of color. And I'd love for my fellow mutts, as I call us, mixed race people, to support Asia and Africa, due to white supremacy as well as like colonialism and things like that. But yeah, I'd love to read your comments, and I hope you won't be too harsh. And maybe you can make response videos. And I mean, by all means, disagree. I'm not someone who is against freedom of speech. I don't think you need to do that just because you're anti-imperialist or whatever. But anyway, this video I think has gone on long enough, and I wish you peace and love, whatever your background. I am out.